we need to start locking in. Like the way I'm telling you guys, I don't want to do senseless dating anymore. Please don't do that anymore, guys. Like, let's just actually use the spare time to pour back into ourselves. But this year, I had FOMO. Like, I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know who was playing. I wanted to know who won. I wanted to attend. And for you to say there's only 1.3% of black people in Australia is completely disregarding all the work that we're all doing in the space. So I just think, like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, you need to do better. It's also... What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bittersweet Podcast. It's your girl, Wintana, and I'm back with another solo episode. As I was saying last week, I was kind of awkward about doing this because, like I said, exposure therapy is a new thing for me to jump on and just be chatting solo because I'm so used to having a guest every week. But I feel like this is a good thing because it's kind of getting me out of my comfort zone. So this week I had a guest that was planned, but things kind of fell through. So I was like, there's enough to talk about on my own. There's a lot of things that happened this week, a lot of things that I want to talk about. I have my sister behind the scenes coordinator, whatever you want to call her. Guys, before I get into this episode, I want to mention two things that I'm obsessed with recently. So as you can see, my hair is in this cute little blowout look. Like it's giving just like 60, would you say 60s, Lil? It's like the 60s, Marilyn Monroe
very
or
50s,
80s.
very 50s, very
right?
60s.
Yeah,
yes.
So it's that look. It's so cute. So I've been using like Velcro rollers. So the product that I've been loving is the GHD Chronos like hair straightener. They recently gifted it to me. I love it. Like my hair is usually the type of hair that doesn't straighten well, but recently I've been trying to heat train it. And let me just tell you, heat training is the biggest scam. Like why are you shaking your head?
I think it's good.
No, heat training is a scam. People
if you're
tell
doing
you
it properly.
No, people tell you to straighten your hair or whatever, train your hair. And then eventually it'll be manipulated the way you want it manipulated or whatever.
That's damage. That's damage.
There's no such thing as heat training. It's just heat damage.
There is such thing as heat training if you do it properly and give yourself like space in between.
I don't know. Maybe you have to do treatments in between, but I've just been going back to back straightening my hair. So my natural hair is fried. I haven't even been using heat protectant, nothing. So why I love the straightener is because it only goes up to like 185 degrees, which means that it's not actually burning my hair as much. I was using a straightener that was going up to the 230 and I wasn't using heat protectant. So my hair's finished, but let me just tell you right now, heat training is a scam. I don't care what you say. I don't care what people say online. You're damaging your hair. That's what you're doing. You're basically like damaging the curl so that it can be manipulated into the look that you want it to look like. So I don't know about training, but that's the thing. But anyways, regardless, I'm obsessed with my hair. I'm obsessed with the straightener that they sent me. Also, I spoke about this in a vlog that I did last week, and it's this new blush that I got from Too Faced. It's called Candy Crush or Candy. I don't know what it's called, guys, but I'm gonna link it in the description because I just want to put the girls on. Black girls, it just gives you a pinky, pretty princess girly look. I'm wearing it now. I didn't put too much on, but let me tell you right now, 10 out of 10. So make sure you guys go get those products, guys. I'm putting you on right now. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the AFL, this year's Grand Final.
Yes, it's giving Super Bowl.
That's what I wanted to say. The AFL, 2025 AFL was insane. And I'm not somebody who watches footy. I'm not someone who, I barrack for a team because I like the animal that is represented with that team. So, it was Tigers, Richmond. Not that I don't support the AFL. We just didn't really grow up with it. Like, our dad watched it, but we're a household full of girls, and that was kind of it. Like, it wasn't a big thing. So, it was just kind of, that was what it was. But this year, I had FOMO. Like, I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to know who was playing. I wanted to know who won. I wanted to attend. Do you know what I mean? The grand final was it was crazy. The fact that they had Snoop Dogg as well playing, I thought that was a huge, cultural moment. I also found out the 2025 AFL Grand Final was Australia's most watched program of the year so far. They had over 6.1 million viewers. Which is crazy.
And 6.1 million people were disappointed.
Why?
Because Brisbane won.
Oh.
Geelong was their opposing team.
Oh, okay. I know Geelong's loved by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me not put out the fact that I barely know much about this too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was crazy. And then, okay, so when Snoop Dogg was first, I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but it was very much like a huge moment in Australian history, I feel anyway. Snoop Dogg came on. It was giving Super Bowl. The way that they produced the entire performance was insane. Big shout out to Chantal Bala, who was doing her big one right next to Snoop Dogg. She was killing it. She's a dancer and she was just like doing her thing. If you guys know her, she's based in Melbourne. She was killing it. But also all the dancers just looked so good. And Snoop Dogg came in. He obviously, at first, there was a lot of like, people were not really inviting. Like there was a lot of racist comments like, why is he performing? They just didn't really understand the cultural relevance, which is like, okay, fair, whatever. Snoop Dogg is not like in any sort of way like relevant to Australian culture, but global culture, he is killing it. Like he's known as, what does he call himself? The father of rap? Father of hip hop? Anyway, Snoop Dogg is like a big name artist. Like he's global, he's been around for decades. So I just feel like I think it was a great cultural move on Australia, because I feel like we're always out of the loop. Yeah. Like Australians are never really known for being like on the pulse of culture. We're not known for like having any like huge events that people want to tap into. But I feel like I'm calling it the Super Bowl. I feel like the grand final was really like that moment. And also I love the fact that he brought Jessica Mauboy onto the stage, because shout out, like she's obviously like, I love that he represented Australian culture in his own way. They had like a didgeridoo on this, like someone using a didgeridoo. I'm just like, this was a moment, because the Aboriginal representation. I love the whole performance. I love like, did you see how they had like fire coming off the stage? Like I genuinely wish I was there. I was having FOMO, to be honest, watching it. Also, one thing that I've realized, guys, is I feel like Australian culture is like shifting. And the reason I say this is because I feel like more immigrants are becoming like, they're not like, okay, I think assimilating is not the word, but I feel like we're kind of taking on the Australian identity in our own way. Like I'm seeing black families on my like socials celebrating grand final. Like they have balloons set up in their living room. They have families coming over. They're doing this whole big one. And I'm just like, that was not a thing growing up. Yeah, like I think in the past, grand final, everything wasn't really like something we saw as like a moment for us. Yeah. Like something as special as Australians do, because it's a big deal here for like white Australians. So when I was seeing like just other families celebrate it, I'm like, I'm starting to see a shift. I don't know. Let me know if you guys see this, or like if you guys have noticed that. But it's cool to see, and it's making me think about like the kids I'm gonna have and what they're gonna be like, or like just like the next generation, like how Aussie we're going to be. You're seeing it, like you see it in America with like Thanksgiving. They have obviously the Super Bowl. They're really big with their sports. Like they take it very seriously. And I feel like all Americans get involved, like no matter where you're from. So I'm starting to just see that and notice that in Australian culture. And it's very, very, very interesting. What do you think, Lil?
I'm actually searching something up right now because I saw something on TikTok saying that the stadium in the Super Bowl is actually smaller than the MCG.
Really? It does look really big.
The MCG has like, it holds like 30,000 seats. It's huge.
How many seats does the Super Bowl hold?
Okay,
tell me.
So the one in where the Super Bowl was held last year in Las Vegas holds around 65 to 72,000 seats. And the MCG has 100,000.
Oh, wow. So 65, you said 30,000. Where did you get that from?
Off.
Yeah, I was like, 30,000 doesn't sound like a lot.
I think it was 30,000 more.
Okay, so the Super Bowl is always in a different location? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But,
I didn't know that.
Apparently the MCG is one of the largest stadiums in the world.
Yeah, well, it's huge. It is really big. Anyway, regardless, guys, if you haven't watched it, it's all on, the whole 30 minutes is on YouTube. So check it out because it was really a moment. Next topic I want to talk about is the Kat Clarke incident that's been happening on social media recently. So if you guys don't know who Kat Clarke is, she's an online creator, and all her kids are also creators as well. So Kat Clarke put out a video in response to what happened at her daughter's event, Sunny Day. Sunny Day did a collaboration with Supre for the launch of like a collection, and they had a bunch of influencers come to the event, and none of the influencers were Black influencers. So the controversy here is that Clarke is a mixed race woman. She's Asian and Australian. Her kids are mixed with African. They're Black, right? Half Black. And obviously being a Black person herself and having no Black women represented at her event was a problem. Let me just say this before I even go into my whole take. I want to say that it is a huge accomplishment. I love that she's a 14-year-old. She had this opportunity to do something so big, and no one is taking that away from Deja at all. I think that's an amazing achievement, and we should all be celebrating that. The problem that I have is with the video the problem I have is with what Clarke had said. There was a video that came up and she was obviously responding to everything that happened. And one of the few things she said was that her daughter grew up in like a predominantly white area. She didn't have any Black friends growing up. And she went on to talk about how, you know, on top of all of that, there are only 1.3% of Black people living in Australia, as if that was an excuse. Obviously, this sparked like whole debate. Conversations were coming out. There were people like Christine who had who made a video online. I'm actually going to play that video for you guys.
Today was supposed to be a big moment for Deja, but instead she's getting accused for not having...
If this is just mind-boggling. I can name so many Black influencers in Australia that have either agency or they're very active on socials and they have emails. You can reach out to them directly. If the brand was in Sydney, there is Jessica Mauboy, Joy Rugariza, they're sisters, and they fit the aesthetic. There is Victoire, she's from Queensland as well. There is Jemima, I'm pretty sure she's from Perth. These are content creators that are active. They are Black, they are people of colour, they fit the niche. From Melbourne, if the event was in Melbourne, I'm not entirely sure. There is Lorraine, there is Tatenda, there is Eunice. If the brand was in Sydney, there is Lydia. If the brand was in Adelaide, there's also Lydia. And there's so many more. I have not even scratched the surface. I think this was such a just naive comment to make, because even though there's not many Black people in Australia, there's a lot on the internet.
So obviously after listening to that, I just feel like 100%. I think what Christine said was like on point. I think it was very like, it's just like irresponsible. You're not taking accountability. You're trying to move away from the problem. No one is saying that, you know, what people are not understanding is when it comes to these events, it's not the daughter herself that's hosting it. There's a whole team of people. There's consultants. You're talking to your agency. The mum obviously is also planning it as well. There are a lot of people that have like their hand in the whole situation. So for you to say that, you know, there aren't enough, you're not doing the research. You're not really like. For me, it's not even about the research. It's like you're in an industry yourself that is full of creators. You would have come across Black creators. Like you would know it yourself because you're in it. So I just think it was kind of like just a lack of care, negligence, like not really caring to even be like, just not really like taking accountability for what you guys did wrong. In Australia alone already, it's very hard for Black creators to kind of get that exposure to begin with. We're not seen. We talk about it all the time on this podcast. It really is an uphill battle because a lot of times they're not catering these campaigns. They're not looking for Black women. They're not looking for women of color. And so, you know, you'll look over to the US or to the UK and you'll see the opportunities that are flooding in for these creators and how their careers are just kind of going on to new levels. For us, it really is like we have to prove to them before we could even get a seat at the table or like get into the room, like there's so much more work to be done. Or they're handpicking, you know what I mean? There's one or two creators. So you've got like your token Black girl or your token Black man in the room. And that's enough for brands to be like, all right, you know what, actually like we've ticked that box off. So for someone like Clarke, who is a woman of color, who has Black kids, you need to understand how harmful you saying something like there's only 1.3% and creating excuses, it's going to create a ripple effect. If you yourself are the one that's promoting this or saying it's okay, the brand next door, they're going to be doing the same thing, and they're going to be using you as like a precedent. So it's kind of like you need to be very mindful about what you say and how damaging it's going to be for like other creators that are going to come after, or other creators that are trying to get into the space already. So just in that self, I think it's very like, I think it's just very like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's careless. I think it's careless. I think you could have easily taken accountability. You could have looked at this as kind of like a learning experience and been like, you know what? Actually, yeah, I did do something wrong here, or you know what, let's take into consideration what they've done, what we've done here, and how this has made like the community feel. Because these black women, and who Christine mentioned was just scratching the surface. Like there are a lot of black women in this space that are grinding, that are really pushing themselves and like trying to get in, also creating amazing content. For you to say there's only 1.3% of black people in Australia is completely disregarding all the work that we're all doing in the space. So I just think like, come on, you know what I mean? Like you need to do better. It's also giving like, I don't know if you remember, like a couple years ago, there was a Fenty Beauty event in Sydney, and they invited, I think 3 black women. Fenty is Rihanna's brand. Rihanna is a black woman. If you're going to be in Australia and do like create like the launch of a black woman's event, how like, again, how careless, how stupid of you to create an event and have no representation in that room. Like to me, it's just like, there's no consideration for the people that are actually here doing things and like trying to get into the spaces. So obviously they went back. There was a big like problem the following year. I think they had a black girl in the PR team, and you saw like there were all the influencers that were black in Australia were in that space. Well, most of them anyway, or a lot of them. So I just think like it's one thing to make a mistake. It's another thing to be like, you know what, we made the mistake. Let's learn from this and then let's do better next time. That's my take on it anyway. I just think that for her it just looks bad. Like if your daughter we were all raised around majority white people. We live in Australia. I was in a majority white area, but I consciously made an effort to be around black people and like create a community around me. It's just about being conscious about your decisions and being intentional. So if you intentionally researched and made it a priority to have, you know, representation in the room, you would have had representation in the room, and that's just what it is. What were you saying?
I said you can't compare growing up black in Melbourne compared to growing up black in Gold Coast.
No.
Not to say that there aren't any black influences in the Gold Coast. Like of course there are. There are black influences everywhere. And I think like black people in Australia are sick of being neglected in spaces like this, which is true. They are neglected in spaces like in creative spaces because there's so many of them. But I think we also forget this is a 14-year-old's event. And I also do think that if Kat Clarke was to hire a black person, just like, or a couple black people, just for there to be diversity or just like for good looks, I think that's worse.
I don't think so at all.
Would you rather be a diversity hire, or would you rather not be hired at all?
No, it's not about that. It's about having representation in the room and what that does to other people that are looking to what she's doing and wanting to be in those spaces. It does a lot to just see something.
It's not about Kat Clarke. It's about her daughter.
But
she spoke on behalf of her daughter.
Okay, but Kat Clarke, you need to understand, you're thinking people are attacking the 14-year-old girl, and no one's attacking her. It's about the event she ran, the event itself is handled by so many other people. She is, remember, 14 years old. She's following your lead. She is a child. So if her mom says do this, she's going to do it. So it's her mom's responsibility to, as a mother yourself, if you have a black daughter, you need to show your daughter that it's important to have that representation in the room. You need to teach your daughter good like skills, like teach them something that's actually going to like, you know, like she has the responsibility to give her, like show her like positive influence.
100%.
So it's like, if you're not influencing your daughter in that way, then it's like, what are we doing here? Because this brand is going to go on to be huge. It's going to be successful. So it's like, how is that carrying on in the future? Also, I'm so sorry, but brands in general, the same way other industries have a responsibility to do things, brands have that responsibility to be representative. You have to be inclusive as a brand.
That's true, but I think that turning something like this, like turning a celebration that this little child has held turning it into something sour is not something that's...
I don't think people are turning it into something sour. I think the response is in response to Clarke's response. The whole controversy, everyone getting upset. For her to turn around and say the only reason we didn't have black women is because there are only 1.3% of black people in Australia.
That was wrong.
Or because my daughter grew up around white people. That's incorrect. That's a lie. The only reason you didn't have it is because you didn't intentionally go out and look for black people to be in that space. That is what it is. So if she could have been like, you know what? Like, okay, we didn't have it for this reason. Like, next time we'll take that into consideration. Because she's trying to grow a brand anyway. You're growing a brand that's going to appeal to other 14-year-olds or whatever young women. Like, why is that leaving out a demographic that your daughter is in? It doesn't make any sense.
I think her saying, like, mentioning that there are only 1.3% or whatever it is, the percentage of black people in Australia was wrong. But I think she's also trying to outline, like, make it look better on her behalf, like, to the rest of the world.
She's trying to do damage control.
Her followers are not only Australian.
Yeah.
So she's trying to paint this picture that there aren't that many black people in Australia. When there are, she's just not looking properly.
She's not looking.
But at the same time, the conversation has shifted from, like, this 14-year-old entrepreneur to lack of diversity at an event.
I don't think so, though. A lot of people are acknowledging Deja, and they're like, okay, cool, Deja's doing... The issue is not that Deja has a business, or like Deja... That actually, people are like, great, whatever. That's not even the topic of the conversation. I think the conversation is about Cat Clarke's response to what she said. And I think also... beyond what she said in that video, like, you need to understand it's just such a sensitive topic and it's such a sensitive industry already. It's already being like, it's a gatekeepy space. Black women are already being pushed away from being let into these spaces. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you've got, why can't I speak? If black women are already not being let in, if they're already gatekeeping, if they're already stopping us from these opportunities, if you're already being paid less, for someone that is a woman of color to go and say something like this, the damage is insane. It's going to be tenfold. And I think it needed to be brought up as a problem. People need to see that this is not like some lighthearted, oh, it's a 14-year-old's event, we have to celebrate. Celebrating it is one thing. Saying that there aren't enough black women to let in the space, in this influencer space, is just giving them the green card to be like, yeah, every time we have something, don't worry about it. But there are a lot of black creators in Australia that are doing the most, that have their own production sets, that don't have management, and they're really still killing it. Some that are signed. There are so many that are signed, and these agencies talk. So it's kind of weird that was the reason.
I think if Cat Clarke was to hold an event and she did that, I think that's when she'll be wrong. Like,
No.
That's when it's something that's frowned upon. That's when we should look at it sideways. But I think that, like, since it's her daughter's event and not actually her event, and she was obviously speaking on behalf of her daughter because she was getting, backlash.
Yeah.
I don't think that it should even be a conversation. I really don't think it should even be a conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think...
And I think there are a lot of other places where we can put this energy towards. It's just like this, all of this like negativity.
But that's what I'm saying. You're thinking that the negativity is going to Deja when it's not.
But her mother is speaking on behalf of her.
Her mother is also...
Her mother's defending her.
Her mother's also planning these events on behalf of her. So her mother is the one that should be held
She's
accountable.
Not planning the events. Their team is planning the events.
Her mother is part of that team. Her mother is part of that team. Let's be so serious. So I'm just gonna say, like, it is her problem. Her mom should be teaching her principles and values and why it's important to be inclusive, and you know that is a part of her, regardless whether she resonates with it or not. She's black, you know. So it's kind of like it's important for her to like. It is important for her to be inclusive in that space and to also acknowledge that side of her. And I don't know, it's just if you're in this space, if you're going to be creating a brand outside of all of that, you need to make sure the brand is inclusive as well. Otherwise, what are the values there? I don't really understand it. It's amazing that she's done this and everyone has actually acknowledged that. It's the mum's response to people saying you should have had more diversity in the room. And also it's like, that is also the other side of creating Lillian or building something. You're going to get like backlash. You're going to get people commenting and critiquing. That's what it is. So it's kind of like you got to be prepared for it, but also like you got to be willing to also make those changes or address them properly, but don't address them in a way that kind of like dismisses what's actually going on, because she's trying to take the easy road and be like, oh, there's actually, no, that's not true. Really, like, no.
Yeah, the way she responded was a bit demeaning, but
I don't know. I think we have to disagree, hun. I disagree with you. Agree to disagree. All right, guys. Anyways, I would love to know your thoughts. Please leave your thoughts in the comments, guys, down below. Let's move on to the final topic. I want to talk about Raye's music video, or Raye's new song, Where Is My Husband? This one kind of spoke to me, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm also at that age where it's like I'm over the unnecessary dates. Like, I'm a girl that loves to go on dates. I love a cute little date. I love a wine and dine. I love, just sitting, connecting. Like, it's really my thing. But also at the same time, like, I'm over nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, dates that are just a waste of time, dates that lead to nothing, crash outs, all that kind of stuff. Like, I just really want to lock in, And this song came out and she's like, where's my husband? And I'm like, honestly, girl, for real, because are we really just going to be, is this really like what it is? It's hard because I also talk about how like I'm not the type of person that will ever just be dating just anyone. But I just think that this period of life from like your late 20s, I would say, I feel like your late 20s is like the most chaotic time. You're kind of like in this very much figuring out stage of life, but like there's that pressure. You know what I mean? Before, I feel like we're always all figuring it out, never really have it sorted, but you feel like you need to be, all these milestones need to be kind of achieved, and you're just wondering what's going on. Like, me and my homegirls are just still figuring it out. And I've been watching Girlfriends recently, and if you're in your late 20s and you just need a show to validate you, watch Girlfriends, because they're so chaotic. Like, they've got the worst dating stories. They are in and out of their jobs. They're trying to figure out what their next career move is. They're in love, but they're not really. Like, they are getting into marriages, but they're failing. Like, it's just chaos. And I feel like that's what your late 20s is. It's just late 20s, maybe early 30s, where you're just like, nothing is like the way it's supposed to be. So anyways, back to Raye's thing of like, I want a husband. I really felt that in my soul. It's like, I'm so over these like meaningless nonsense dates and just things that don't really like, they're not really doing anything for me. They're not actually like, I'm not stepping towards my future. I'm just here for vibes and fun, but also vibes and fun get old, It gets old. There was this clip. Let me play it for you guys.
Sure. I want a husband. You know what I mean? I want a ring. I want the wedding. I want to do the thing.
You just heard Raye's brand new single, Where Is My Husband? Raye, I mean, the clues in the song, is this a demand?
It's a song that I love. It's got a great vibe. It's warm. It's positive. It's got a happy message and stuff. But then also it's kind of like a 2-in-1 marketing campaign, because I think what's actually happened now is, as I'm walking around and venturing around in life, when I see babies,
I'm broody. Are you broody?
It's like,
give me a baby yesterday.
Do you remember when you was looking at children? You're like,
yeah,
oh, that's cute.
Oh yeah,
cute.
and hand them
nice.
back
and be like, yeah, there you go. Now I'm like, nah, I can't handle it.
Where's my youth?
Basically, what needs to happen is, we need to speed up this process.
Yeah, basically.
The time is coming. And also, this is no judgment to anyone who doesn't want to get married or doesn't want to do that, but I want a husband. You know what I mean? I want a ring, I want the wedding, I want to do the thing. It could be a quiet wedding.
It could be
a private
elope,
wedding. It could be an elope.
Yeah, situation.
I don't know what the plural of that is. Situation.
Anyway, I don't know. She lost me at the baby thing. I'm not going to lie. But like, I was just like, yes. And then she just started saying, I see babies. And I don't feel clucky. I don't feel like, oh my God, I want a child right now, because that feels like work for me. But like, it's just not yet. I'm not ready yet. And I think, you know what? I feel like when I am with the person that I want to be with, that's when I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I want to have a kid. But the husband thing I get, like, I want to go on a vacation. I want to plan my future. I want to, like, those are the things that, like, it feels like in your late 20s, or like even being 29, it's like you're stepping into like the next stage, and you're kind of like, well, what's happening on the other side there?
I just want to find my dress.
Sorry?
I want to find my dress.
For what?
my wedding dress.
Lillian, this is not about you. You're 20 years old. This girl, by the way, guys, every day reminds me that I'm single and like I need to get my life together. Why don't you say something about that now?
You need a reminder.
I don't need a reminder. I also feel,
You're pushing 40 and like you're unmarried.
ladies, let me just say this as well. Like, this is me all fun and games, haha, kiki. Do not rush and do not settle to be in a relationship.
Do not
do
rush.
not, because I feel like it's never that serious. Like, you can be to be in a relationship and to be in a happy relationship, that's what I'm looking for. I want someone to like actually be a bonus to my life. I'm not looking for someone to bring me stress and anxiety and like hold me back in any sort of way. I think also we need to start locking in. Like, the way I'm telling you guys, I don't want to do senseless dating anymore. Please don't do that anymore, guys. Like, let's just actually use the spare time to pour back into ourselves and be strict with our roster, be strict with our routine, be strict with the people that we date. I think that's a fast track to actually getting in a relationship as well, because you start to really know exactly what you want and where you won't compromise. And I just think that's just the way to go, because the streets are rough out here. It's cold and the girls are talking about it. The girls are going through it. But I also feel, as much as I'm saying, like, I really get what she's saying, I love the whole romanticizing the husband life, I also cannot be in a marriage that is going to like hold me hostage. And I say this because I feel like I've recently been in like dating situations where I don't know what it is. I feel like I knew that they weren't supposed to be long term, but I just was like, you know what, let me go and like enjoy myself anyway. Like, I'm having a good time. And I was taking away from like where I was supposed to, like, I feel like I'm taking away from like my own goals. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that I'm not locked in. I'm not focused. I'm just kind of like in this and not really thinking about what I actually want or being intentional with dating. Anyways, those things just didn't work out. And I feel like it really is one of those, if it's not meant for you, God will take it away. And what is meant for you will really, really like, you'll start to notice there'll be a pattern of it, like really being something that is, I just think God will steer you in the direction that you're supposed to go if you like start paying attention and actually focus on, you know, the things that really matter, as opposed to just being in things for the sake of fun. But also, I'm like, have fun, girls. I'm all over the place. But I also think like experience is good. I also think it is good to enjoy things, but have boundaries, have your limits, and like don't just be in things long term for the sake of being in them. Then you end up catching feelings and then you go down this whole like rabbit hole for no reason. That's my 2 cents on this topic. That is it for the rest of this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the solos, by the way. Like, I personally feel like I'm loving them. I love having you behind the scenes as well. It's like nice to have someone to talk off.
Debate.
Yeah, like a little chat.
Yeah.
If you can like, comment, subscribe, do all the things as usual, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys again next week. Bye.